So looking at buying an EV could be something that's totally new to a lot of people, and sometimes you don't know what to look out for. We know with internal combustion engine vehicles, people like to look for things like good gas mileage, safety, reliability, how long they're gonna last, things like that. And so today I'm gonna go over 6 different things that you should be looking for in an EV, or at least that's what I think. I want it to be known that I chose the cars that have the longest range of that make and model, and then I didn't choose any options above base. So we're just gonna go through and look at all these in comparison. I'm gonna go over the top name EVs, and I'm gonna go through and rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. A lot of this is personal opinion. I tried to make this as fair and balanced as possible. Every different category has a different winner. Then at the very end, we're gonna look at these scores and see which vehicle wins overall. The first thing is range, and in my opinion, range is king over all other things. The number one EV with range is the Tesla Model S long range. With 370 miles of range, it beats out any other by far. So I'm gonna go over range scores and how I did that. So I decided 0 to 100 miles is something that almost any car manufacturer can do. So that was 1 point. 101 to 200, also something that pretty much any car company could do. They'd have to put a little more work into it, but totally feasible. So I gave that 2 points. These numbers I chose because I feel like this is kind of where the average gets separated from the pretty good or the really good. So 201 miles to 275 is what scored a 3. A 4 would be 276 to 350 miles. And then a 5 is 350 plus. Now the reason I chose that is because most gas vehicles can go 350 to 400 miles before filling up. So I figure if an EV can match or beat the average gas vehicle, that deserves 5. Okay, so the next thing I include is charge time and infrastructure. I include these together because even if you have a car that has a really good range, if it takes forever to charge, it doesn't really add up. So you want something that has very good range and very good charge rate, as well as the charging infrastructure. Just to try to make this fair I assumed a road trip, again from my home here in Spanish Fork, Utah to Aloha, Oregon. I figured this would give us a good idea of how many charge stations there are, as well as how long you're gonna be stopping at charge stations, and maybe even how many stops you're gonna be making. So normally if you take a gas car on this trip, in my opinion, you'd stop for about an hour. That would be for going to the bathroom, stopping for food, gassing up, things like that. That's if you make it a pretty quick trip. So I did that if an EV can keep up with a gas car, 60 minutes or less, they got 5 points. The next one would be from 61 minutes to 120 minutes. I thought that that was still fairly quick, but not nearly as quick as it could be. So I gave that a 4. From 120 minutes to 180 minutes, that was a 3. 3 hours to 4 hours, I thought was just absolutely not okay. That was 2. And anything more than 4 hours charging on an 11 and a half to 12 hour trip was just ridiculous. I thought that that was just 1 point. The winner in this case is the Porsche Taycan Turbo. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Porsches can charge really quickly, all the way up to about 80% before they start to taper off. Okay, pricing is the next big thing. And I want to talk about this a little bit because these numbers might look funny. So to get a 5-star on pricing, I based that off of the average sale of a new vehicle in the United States last year. So if a new EV is at that same cost or lower, I believe that it got 5-star. Then from there, I tried to do it in increments of about $50,000. You can see from the scale here that the winner when it comes to pricing is the Chevy Bolt. So the Chevy Bolt comes in about $500 less than the average new vehicle sale price of 2018. Now this next one was kind of a hard one to do. I wanted to include tech and features. So for this scale of 1 to 5, I gave 1 point for each of the following. If it has autonomous software or semi-autonomous software, over-the-air software updates, display and response time. Now that might seem weird, but I've seen some cars that have these nice displays, and then when you go to use it, there's crazy lag, and that would personally bother me a lot. So that's why that was worth 1 point as well. Functionality and extras. So this would be anything like Apple CarPlay, Tesla Theater. I thought that was worth a point. And then driver safety assist. So automatic emergency braking, traffic aware cruise control or anything like that, but something that still makes your car a little bit safer. In this case, the winners were all the Tesla vehicles, scored a 5 out of 5, plus the Jaguar I-Pace and the Audi e-tron. Okay, so this next category I think is what most people are going to disagree with me on, and just hear me out. Reliability. We all know that Audi and Porsche make extremely reliable vehicles. They got 5 out of 5 for sure on that one. Then it comes down to the Teslas. Now this is where I think that people are going to disagree, but Tesla's had troubles with things such as paint or panel gaps, or even recently on Reddit I saw somebody who had their trunk falling apart after 10 days of ownership. I think Teslas are fantastic cars, but I think that Tesla really needs to step up their game with reliability. That being said, I think that they already have made huge steps above where they used to be. I think that they're making such progress that I'm going to keep them at a 3 for now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, as a Tesla fan, they will continue to improve, work on their reliability and things like that. It's hard to take the bias out of this one because the Model S that I had that was used had 88,000 miles on it when I got it. We sold it at 125,000 miles, and that car was rock solid. So for my personal car, that would have been 5 out of 5 hands down. But I do have to take into account all these other complaints that I see. So that's why Tesla gets a 3 out of 5. All right, so I obviously have to include fun factor because that's one of the great things about EVs is the instant torque. Keep in mind that this is just the base model with the longest range. So we're gonna start off by the lowest time. The quickest or most fun car on this list is the Porsche Taycan Turbo, going from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat. Now a 5 on the fun factor would be anything under 2 seconds. Anything from 2 to 3.9 seconds got a 4 on the fun factor. A 3 on the fun factor is anything 4 to 5.9 seconds. That's still a pretty quick car, but nothing to write home about. A 2 point was 6.0 to 7.9 seconds. And then anything 8 seconds or more is actually more like your average minivan. So that was a 1. So I went through and kind of pulled a Doug DeMuro and added them all up to get a final score and average it out. So the winner in this case was the Tesla Model S long range with an average score of 4, followed by the Model Y and Model 3 with a 3.8, the Model X with a 3.7, tied with the Audi e-tron, the Porsche Taycan Turbo, the Porsche Taycan 4S, and then in last place with a 3.3 average was the Jaguar I-Pace, the Chevy Bolt, the Hyundai Kona, and the Kia Niro. These were just different factors that I thought made a car important. If you're looking for the best value for your price, I understand that a lot of people can't spend $80,000 to get what I think is the best on this list. But I also can understand if somebody doesn't want to get the Chevy Bolt just because it's the cheapest, there might be something that's a little bit better by spending an extra $2,000 or $3,000. If your daily commute is really short and you just want to spend as little as possible but still get an EV, Chevy Bolt might be a fantastic option for you. If you do a lot of road tripping and don't want to spend a ton, you might want to get a Tesla Model 3. So hopefully this helped you out with deciding on an EV if you're in the market for one, or maybe it just helped you learn something. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.